Beneath the streets of Rome, soldiers gathered in secret. They cut their palms, letting blood drip onto stone altars. They feasted on bread and wine in rituals that sound eerily familiar. And they worshipped a god who promised them eternal life. But this wasn't Christianity. For 400 years, a mysterious religion swept through the Roman Empire so powerfully that it nearly became the dominant faith of the Western world. Then, almost overnight, it vanished. Every temple destroyed, every sacred text burned, its name erased from history, until archaeologists started digging. Today we're going underground to expose the cult of Mithras, the secret religion that Christianity had to defeat to survive. In 1954, construction workers in London made a discovery that would rewrite everything we thought we knew about ancient Rome. 7 meters below the city streets, they found something that shouldn't exist. A perfectly preserved Roman temple. But it wasn't dedicated to Jupiter, Mars, or any of the familiar Roman gods. The walls were covered with strange astronomical symbols. At the center stood a statue depicting something shocking. A young man in a Phrygian cap, plunging a knife into the throat of a massive bull. Around them, a dog, a snake, a scorpion, and a raven watched the killing. Above it all, the sun and moon bore witness. This wasn't just art. This was the central mystery of Mithraism, a religion so secretive that its followers were forbidden from writing down their beliefs. Everything had to be memorized. Everything had to stay hidden. And here's what makes this absolutely fascinating. This London temple wasn't unique. Since then, archaeologists have discovered over 400 Mithraic temples called Mithraea, scattered across the Roman Empire, from Scotland to the Sahara, from Spain to Syria. But every single one was underground, every single one was hidden, and every single one could only hold 30 to 40 people at most. This wasn't a religion for the masses. This was a religion for the elite. So who were these secret worshippers? The answer might surprise you. Mithraism was the religion of Rome's most powerful men. We're talking about legionnaires, the backbone of the Roman military, merchants who controlled trade routes, government officials, even emperors themselves may have been initiated. But here's the catch. Absolutely no women allowed. This was a boys' club in the most extreme sense. To join required brutal initiation rituals. Historical accounts describe candidates being temporarily buried alive, branded with hot iron, thrown into water while tied up, and forced to wear a crown of swords while being threatened with decapitation. If they flinched, they failed. Why would anyone endure this? Because membership meant everything in Roman society. A Mithraic brother in Britain could travel to a temple in Rome and be instantly welcomed, fed, and given assistance. It was like an ancient combination of the Freemasons, a military brotherhood, and a mystery religion all rolled into one. The religion had 7 levels of initiation, each with its own secrets, symbols, and privileges. Corax the raven, Nymphis the bride, Miles the soldier, Leo the lion, Perses the Persian, Heliodromus the sun runner, and finally, Pater the father, the master of the temple. Climbing these ranks took years, sometimes decades. But those who reached the top wielded enormous influence. Now let's talk about what actually happened in these underground chambers, because it's going to sound incredibly familiar. Mithraic ceremonies centered around a sacred meal. Followers would gather in the temple, reclining on stone benches along the walls. They would consume bread and wine, which they believed connected them to their god and promised them salvation and eternal life after death. Sound familiar? It should. But it gets weirder. The central image, Mithras slaying the bull, wasn't just random violence. Modern scholars have decoded what it actually represents, and the answer is astronomical. The bull is Taurus, the dog is Canis Minor, the snake is Hydra, the scorpion is Scorpius, the raven is Corvus. These are all constellations. The entire scene is a star map depicting a cosmic event, possibly the precession of the equinoxes which ancient people noticed was slowly shifting the position of stars over centuries. Mithras wasn't just a god. He was a cosmic force maintaining order in the universe. By killing the bull, he was literally controlling the movement of the heavens. Members believed that by participating in the rituals and advancing through the 7 grades, they were joining Mithras in this cosmic battle. When they died, their souls would ascend through the 7 planetary spheres, the same 7 levels of initiation, until they reached the realm of the fixed stars and eternal life. But here's where it gets controversial. Mithraism also practiced something called the Torabolium, a baptism in bull's blood. Initiates would stand in a pit while a bull was sacrificed on a grate above them. The hot blood would pour down over their bodies, drenching them completely. They would emerge reborn, cleansed of their old life and initiated into the mysteries. Roman Christians were horrified by this practice. They saw it as a demonic mockery of their own baptism. By the year 300 AD, the Roman Empire was religiously divided. 2 movements were exploding in popularity, and they were on a collision course. On one side, Christianity, promising salvation to everyone, men, women, slaves, and outcasts. Its message was simple: believe in Jesus and you will be saved. On the other side, Mithraism, offering brotherhood, cosmic knowledge, and elite status, but only to men who could survive the initiations and keep the secrets. The similarities between them were undeniable and deeply troubling to both groups. Both featured a miraculous birth of their central figure. Both used bread and wine in salvation rituals. Both promised eternal life after death. Both had December 25th as a sacred day. Both used the symbolism of light overcoming darkness. Early Christian writers noticed this and accused Mithraism of being a satanic imitation designed to deceive people. They called it the devil's parody. But here's the uncomfortable truth for both sides. Mithraism was older. Its roots trace back to ancient Persia, to the god Mithra mentioned in texts from 1400 BC. The Roman version emerged around 100 BC, decades before Christianity spread beyond Judea. So who copied whom? The answer is probably neither. Both were drawing from common Middle Eastern religious ideas about dying and rising gods, sacred meals, and cosmic salvation. But only one would survive. The turning point came in 312 AD, when Emperor Constantine converted to Christianity before the Battle of the Milvian Bridge. After his victory, he began favoring Christianity across the empire. By 391 AD, Emperor Theodosius III made Christianity the official state religion and outlawed all other pagan practices, including Mithraism. What happened next was systematic destruction. Christian mobs, often led by monks, descended on Mithraic temples across the empire. The destruction of Mithraism was thorough and brutal. Mithraea were deliberately desecrated. The sacred Tauroctony statues, the images of Mithras killing the bull, were smashed to pieces. The temples were buried or converted into Christian churches. Sacred objects were destroyed or melted down. But here's what's haunting. The Mithraic followers helped. Because of their oath of secrecy, they couldn't defend their religion publicly. They couldn't write down their beliefs to preserve them. The very thing that made Mithraism exclusive, its secrecy, became the weapon that destroyed it. Within 2 generations, the entire religion vanished. No texts survived explaining the true meaning of the rituals. No member wrote down the secret teachings. The knowledge simply died with the last initiates. For 1,500 years, Mithraism was forgotten. It became a footnote in Christian texts, described only as a demonic heresy. The ruins of hundreds of temples lay buried beneath European cities, waiting. Then came the modern era. Archaeologists began excavating Roman sites and kept finding these strange underground chambers. The puzzle pieces slowly came together. Today, we can walk through Mithraic temples in London, Rome, Ostia, and Dura Europos. We can see the stone benches where soldiers reclined. We can study the star maps carved into the walls. We can stand before the Tauroctony and try to imagine what it meant to those who died, rather than reveal its secrets. So here's the question that haunts historians. What if Mithraism had won? Imagine a Western civilization built on Mithraic principles. A religion of merit and initiation, where salvation had to be earned through ordeal and secret knowledge. Where women were excluded from spiritual authority. Where cosmic order mattered more than personal salvation. No medieval churches, No crusades. No religious art depicting the suffering Christ. Instead, temples showing the cosmic warrior maintaining universal order. Would science have developed differently if astronomy had been central to religious practice? Would society be more or less equal if spiritual authority required military service? We'll never know. But what we do know is this. For a brief moment in history, two visions of salvation competed for the soul of Western civilization. One promised salvation to all. The other promised salvation to the worthy. Christianity won, but just barely, and the religion it defeated was so thoroughly erased that we are only now rediscovering what it truly believed. The underground temples remain, silent witnesses to the religion that almost was. And somewhere beneath our modern cities, there may be more Mithras waiting to be discovered, holding secrets that died 600 years ago. The cult of Mithras was real, it was powerful, and it came closer to winning than most people realize. Thanks for watching. If you found this journey into the past fascinating, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more hidden histories.